Hello and welcome to Dharma Talk Tuesday. We're back. I'm back on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific. I've been gone the last 2 weeks and I am back. I've been doing a lot of different things, but I've been in the leadership world where I've been captaining, what's a total privilege and honor and pleasure, the leadership group, the Hardcore Leadership Group, HCL 6, so it's the 6th wave to go through, and I also was mentoring PhD, which is Advanced Leadership. And so it was like back to back to back to back. And here we are on the other side. I'm super grateful to Brandy and Karina, who hosted my last 2 Dharma Talk Tuesdays in my absence. So hopefully you enjoyed those. And here we are, I'm back. And I'm very happy to be here, back into the flow, back in my routine, and back here with you. It's one of my favorite things to do is these Dharma Talk Tuesdays, to spend time with you, to drop in, to answer questions, to inspire, to connect, to really get intimate with my tribe. It truly is I look forward to it every week. And so here we are. I'm back in the flow, back with my clients, back with you. And today we're talking about, the topic I'm going to talk about is the one thing that my clients do to generate thousands of dollars with their minds. So my clients, they range in age from their mid-20s to their mid-60s. They have all different kinds of businesses, but they do have one thing in common, and it's manifesting. They turn nothing into something. It's very alchemical, turning nothing into something. And they do it with their minds. They literally manifest thousands of dollars with their minds. They go from nothing to something. It's the ultimate in manifesting. I'm going to share with you the one thing that they do today. Super excited about that. And today we have joining us, we got Michelle, DJ Rundat Miller, super excited to see you here. Chanel, always great to see you. Mariana, missing you. Carrie, Magical Stanley herself in the house. Nicole, so good to see you here. Carrie says, welcome back. Thank you. And Michelle says, juicy. Isn't it? I totally agree. We've got Kareen in the house. Kareen, I was just thinking of you the other day, and I'm so happy you're here. How are you? Post below. Send me a message. Cannot wait to connect. Been thinking of you. Deb says, hi, Julie. Hi, Deb. All right. So how do my clients do it? How do they, step on a plane, they get an intention, they get an idea, and they get off the plane, and within 24 hours, they've got a new $3,000 client? Or, how do they go from deciding that they're going to go from a brick and mortar business to an online business and just have that decision, have that intention, and then within a matter of 36 hours, bring in their first $12,000 clients, a $1,000 a month client for 12 months. Or how do they go from not knowing what their business is, literally not having anything, nothing, no kind of blueprint or anything, and then go from that, nothing, into a couple of months later, generating $15,000 recurring on a new business that they love. How does that happen? How do they do that? Well, we're going to talk about that today, and I'm super excited to share it with you. Therese, hi! She says, good morning, couldn't sleep, so woke up to make some sleepy tea. So glad now. Yay, me too. Deb says, wow, this is the part I find challenging. Fantastic! Well manifested on being here today on today's Dharma Talk Tuesday. And as you're tuning in, if you know someone who you think would benefit from this conversation, and you know someone you're like, man, they really need to hear this, hit the share button or tag them below so that they can be a part of this conversation too. I remember when I first discovered this work, it was that's a thing. I was speaking with a one-on-one client today, actually, and she asked me a really good question. No one's ever actually asked me this question before, and I shared it with her. That's a really good question. She said, how would you coach a client on being beautiful, on feeling beautiful? And I was like, wow, I've never been asked that question before. And I definitely have this feeling, this confidence that when I walk into a room, I feel beautiful. I feel confident, I feel attractive, but it hasn't always been that way. I remember feeling very insecure when I was younger, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, wow, what is that? And I realized being on purpose is what makes me feel beautiful. And being powerful, for me, there's a sense of beautifulness in that. Like, that's where I get my confidence from. I think confidence is beautiful. So for whatever reason, that tangent just came out of my mouth for you. And my point in sharing that with you is that if you know someone who has that kind of conversation of like, how do I feel powerful? How do I feel on purpose? How do I feel like I can create something from nothing? Then hit the share button and tag them below and send this to them so that they can have that power and that impact of being a part of this conversation. You know, there was a point where I felt very insecure, and because someone had the foresight and the thought to share this with me, I went from feeling insecure and totally lacking any kind of confidence or conviction or belief in myself to feeling beautiful and radiant and confident and creating amazing results in my life. So be that person for your friends. It makes a difference. Okay, so today's topic, turning nothing into something. How do my clients go from generating, how do they generate thousands of dollars with their mind from nothing? How do they do it? Okay, let's dive in. Let's dive in. Hearts and likes if you are ready to dive in. Okay, here we go. So I want to share with you something I learned from one of my teachers, Anadea Judith, who is like the chakra queen. She is like the chakra master. And she talks about manifesting in a very interesting and unique way. And she talks about it like, okay, let's talk about the chakras for a second, right? There's at the bottom, we've got the root chakra, and then we go up to the sacral, and then we go up to the solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown chakra. So people often talk about ascending up the chakras, like, okay, I want to work my way up the chakras. You've heard me talk about Dr. David Hawkins and the work that he's done with the vibrational scale, and he corresponds it with the chakras. So you work your way up the chakras. Well, Anadea Judith has a really interesting point of view, which is that manifesting is actually about working your way down the chakras. So you go from a thought or an idea into, I'm just going to move the comments to the side so I can concentrate for a second. You go from a thought or an idea, like this collective consciousness, this wisdom drops into your mind, and then it gets filtered through your self-perception and your understanding and your beliefs, and then it goes through the way that you conceptualize and you think about it and you talk about it, and then how you feel about it, and then you add your own flavor of empowerment to it. And it's like it goes down the chakras, down the vibrational scale into a piece of matter, into something physical, into something tangible, which is lower vibration, not in a bad way, but matter, things that you can touch and feel, that's lower vibration than something that is high vibration, which is intangible, like thoughts or radio waves or light waves, right? And so she talks about bringing something down from the ethers and then manifesting it into the tangible down through the chakras. And so there's a point where something manifests down from intention, down from thought, from the ethers into matter, into the material, and then there's a point where it can manifest. And you play a role in that point where it can manifest. And this is that one thing that my clients do, and that I do, of course, obviously, that really is the deciding point and the deciding factor on if it manifests or not. Because we all can have thoughts about manifesting thousands of dollars or millions of dollars or whatever, but it cannot manifest. I mean, who's had that happen before? That's a thing too. So what is the deciding factor on if something actually manifests or not? Well, that's the manifestation point. There's a crucial thing that happens at the manifestation point that I want to talk about today. I'm just going back to the comments for a second. Carrie says, confidence is the sexiest outfit we can wear. So true, Carrie. That's such a good one. Deb says, yes, I understand it like this well. Awesome. Okay. So what is the manifestation point, and what is the crucial factor at the manifestation point that determines whether the thing is going to manifest, whether the thousands of dollars are going to manifest, whether the client is going to say yes or not? Okay, so at the point of manifestation, this is where you come in. So it goes from being an idea, a vision, an intention, to something where you get to contribute to. So one of my biggest pet peeves, one of the things that drives me absolutely crazy in the woo-woo manifesting world, which I'm very much a part of, and this still drives me crazy, is when people like sit on their couch or their yoga mats saying, I'm manifesting, I'm meditating, I'm intentional, but then they don't take action, or they don't do the work, or they're just still in their ideas, but then like God gives them an insight and they don't do anything with that insight. So what's missing at that point of manifestation is something from them. So at that point, it takes something from you. And what is that thing from you? And that thing from you is a 4-letter word. Are you ready for this? That 4-letter word is risk. It takes a risk. And I've noticed that the difference between the people who get results and the people who don't get results is just that one word. It's at the point of manifestation. Are they willing to take a risk? Are they willing to share their heart? Are they willing to trust themselves or the other person or God? Are they willing to stick their neck out? Are they willing to take a risk? So obviously there are prices that we pay when we risk. There are prices that we pay when we risk. There is the risk of looking bad. There's the risk of being embarrassed. There's the risk of feeling exposed. There's the risk of rejection. There's the risk of abandonment. And there's probably many more risks. And I certainly resonate and relate with many of those. And maybe you can too. So why would we take those risks? Like, why would we do that to ourselves? Well, the reason why we do that to ourselves is because on the other side of that risk, on the other side of that point of manifestation and taking that risk is the thing that we want, is the thousands of dollars. And the one thing that all my clients have in common who've generated thousands of dollars from their mind, from their ideas, from their intention, is that they were willing to take that risk. They were willing to look bad. They were willing to look foolish. They were willing to be rejected. They were willing to be abandoned and feel abandoned, rather. Now, did that mean that they looked bad? Did that mean that they felt they were actually exposed? Did that mean that they were rejected? No, most of the time they weren't. But they were willing to. They were willing to take the risk. They were willing to feel those things. And that was the opening. That was the thing that at the point of manifestation was present that ultimately allowed for the manifestation to be received, that allowed for the thousands of dollars to come their way, that allowed for the client or the potential client to have the opportunity to say, yes, I want to work with you. Yes, where do I sign? Yes, tell me more. Yes, I need to, just transfer the money over from another account, but let's do this. Right? So, Nikki says, hey babe, would really love to connect finally. Oh my God. Yes, me too, Nikki. Send me a private message and you and I will talk. I'm so looking forward to that. So why do we say yes to the risk? Because we're willing to pay those prices. Again, we're willing to pay the prices. That doesn't mean we actually do, but we're willing to pay those prices for the sake of making the difference for someone else, for the sake of being in service to our vision, and for the sake of being willing to receive the gift from the universe of the thousands of dollars or the millions of dollars or whatever game you're playing at. That it wants to give you, that it just wants to give you. So it's at that point of manifestation and it matters so much. And that's the one thing that my clients do to manifest thousands of dollars from their mind. And it's like, if you're not willing to pay those prices, you have to be honest with yourself. I call it the ugly truth. It's ugly. It's the ugly truth because it kind of feels sort of icky. You have to be honest with yourself about how committed you actually really are to your vision. And this may be like a come to Jesus moment for some of you. This may be a moment of like, ooh, that stung, or ooh, that hurt. Awesome. I hope it wakes you up and I hope it supports you in getting clear and in getting recommitted, or perhaps in letting go of that commitment and committing to something else, like rest or taking time off or spending, time doing something else or whatever. I mean, there's freedom in making an empowered decision that way. Or if you decide to recommit, then it's like, okay, great. So I'm going to recommit and now I'm willing to pay those prices. And that takes you back to the point of manifestation and something new can happen. And you can join the ranks of my clients who've generated $15,000 recurring a month, or, a $12,000 new contract in the new business vision that they had, or the, $3,000 new sound healing client that one of my clients, Rush, generated as soon as she stepped off the plane and sat down, and the person sitting next to her started talking to her, and she's like, oh, I want to work with you. Great, sign here. I mean, it's literally, it can be that simple. And that's what my clients experience in their energetic alignment. And that's the power of being intentional. It's the power of operating from your body wisdom instead of operating from like your brain or logic or cookie cutter strategy or forcing a square peg in a round hole. You get the idea. So let's talk about the ugly truth for a second, okay? The ugly truth is that you need to be willing to pay those prices. You need to be willing to, I'll just say them again, look bad, feel exposed, feel rejected, feel humiliated. I mean, it's different for different people. Feel awkward, you know, whatever it is. And if you're not, there's the thing, like you're either willing or you're not, and there's no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, and I speak into this because I've seen this before, right? It's very relevant. So I've seen the 1 foot in, 1 foot out type of energy, and it just doesn't work. Or it works like a little bit, and what'll happen is you'll get a client who says yes, but then they backpedal or they rescind. Or, you know, you get the 1 foot in, you're in the 1 foot in, 1 foot out energy, and it's like, honestly, that's almost harder than all in energy, really. I was actually in the training, one of the trainers, the breakthrough trainer said, this is such a good quote, she was like, 99%'s a bitch, 100% is easy. How good is that? 99%'s a bitch, 100% is easy. Because if you are 99% committed to something, that gives you wiggle room to talk yourself out of it. Whereas if you know you're 100%, you know you're willing to go the distance, well, decision made. You get to go where you get to go. You get to be who you need to be. You know, it's actually, it's a lot less exhausting to be 100% committed versus 99% committed, right? So you get to be both feet in. And again, maybe right now, this Dharma Talk Tuesday for you is like that decision point. It's the manifestation point. Maybe you've had this idea that you've been percolating on. You've been maybe like, you know, clarifying it, putting it on paper, and now you're at a manifestation point with your idea. And maybe this conversation right now is your come to Jesus moment where you're like, okay, what prices am I willing to pay? And to that end, what action am I willing to take? Am I willing to write that email that I've been resisting writing? Am I willing to go into the follow-up campaign? I'll be honest with you, I used to hate doing follow-up emails because I had a story that I was operating from on a very deep level that they weren't a good use of my time. They were a waste of my time. And I also felt if I didn't hear back from the people that I was following up with, I actually felt rejected. I felt this deep sense of rejection and abandonment, and it like triggered something in me. Like it triggered my inner little girl. And so I just wouldn't do follow-ups. So I was a great front-end closer, and I did 0 follow-ups. I left so much money on the table for so many years until finally I worked with a coach who broke me through that. And it was like, oh, I didn't realize that I was avoiding follow-ups on a subconscious level because it activated this like abandonment trigger in me. I wasn't willing to pay the price of feeling abandoned. And then when I worked through the trigger and I was like, okay, like I'm willing to practice this. I'm willing to pay the price of feeling abandoned. I didn't actually feel abandoned anymore because I like shined the light on that shadow. And I started doing follow-ups, and I mean, there have been clients that have signed up for Maya, my year-long coaching program, Money Alignment Yoga Academy, who they've been receiving follow-ups from me for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and then they finally signed up. And there's a disadvantage to signing up, like waiting a longer time to sign up because the price for Maya only keeps going up. I mean, it's doubled just in the last year. Actually, it's tripled in the last year. It's, it's gone up a lot, in other words. So, you know, I've got people who are like, yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm putting it off, and whatever reason they're putting it off. And then they decide eventually, like, I really have to do this. The cost is too high of me not doing this. And then there's a price to pay for putting it off. Are you willing to pay the price of procrastination, right? So, and it's like, why would you want to pay more when you can save money? That doesn't even make sense. So and then there's prices to pay of being urgent. There's prices to pay of trusting yourself. There's always a price to pay. So you have to be honest with yourself. You have to come to that point of manifestation, be willing to take the risk, be willing to pay the prices, like look at the ugly truths of, am I 100% committed? Am I both feet in? And if I'm not, recommit. And if I am, okay, get willing to pay those prices. Okay, I would love to see some hearts and likes if this is resonating. And I would love to see some comments and thoughts and questions on how this is landing for you. Nikki says, yes. She says, your talks are always on point. So glad it's resonating, Nikki. Christy says, hey, Julie, totally true. Risk. Carrie says, intention plus... This is such a Carrie Stanley formula. Intention plus risk equals miracles. Wow. A truer statement has never been said. Emily Foster, hi. Deb says, thank you so much for this reminder. I have a fear of judgment. Yeah, judgment's another one, Deb. Thank you for bringing that up. Rejection or messing up. Yes, the fear of doing it wrong. Sometimes I'm as scared to succeed as I am to fail. I will adjust this immediately. Yeah, because Deb, if you actually succeed, now you've got responsibility. Now you've got to fulfill. Now you've got to actually show up. And oh my God, like that's so stressful and overwhelming, isn't it? I get it. So again, those are the prices. You need to be honest with yourself about if you're willing to pay those prices. Michelle says, I've been having fear of visibility. Great. So thank you for sharing that, Michelle. It's like, am I willing to pay the price of visibility? Awesome. Great awareness. Shawnee says, hi, Julie. Hi, Shawnee. Chrissy says, totally resonating. Shawnee says, faith over fear. Ooh, that right there, Shawnee. That's such a golden one. Having faith over fear. That's such a key piece to bring in, you know, because well, if I'm going to be willing to pay these prices, like what's going to keep me feeling safe? What's going to keep me feeling grounded? What's going to keep me feeling like everything is going to be okay, even if there's this like scary price that I feel like I'm going to need to pay? And so Shawnee brings up a great point, of course, because she's amazing. And she says faith, and that's such a big one. Something I was talking about with my Maya clients today is the power of your anchoring practice. So they get a custom prescription anchoring practice from my head yoga coach, where they get a custom yoga practice as well as what I call an emotional cultivation, which is sort of like a guided visualization that guides them out of like the lower vibrational feeling and into a high vibrational feeling of possibility and joy and inspiration and peace and prosperity and abundance and freedom and all of those things. And so the yoga practice as well as the visualization, the emotional cultivation, actually help sort of step ladder them out of the fear and out of the like icky feelings that we feel when we're like afraid of the judgment or afraid of the visibility, and into, okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And it moves you into that sense of like, okay, I can take action on this, and I am worthy, and I'm a visionary, and people will want to hear what I have to say, and I can totally deliver on this, and all those other affirmative things. Michelle says, funny thing, I just published a book. Congratulations, Michelle. What's the book called? Post the link here. I would love to see it. That's so exciting. Okay. So I want to share with you one final thing to round out this Dharma Talk Tuesday, and it's a special secret. And it's a special secret that I've shared with people I've worked with, the coaches I worked with in the leadership space. I share it with my clients. And hearts and likes, if you're prepared and ready to receive a magical secret that's going to make all the difference for you in helping you be willing to pay the prices, even when they're very scary and uncomfortable. Hearts and likes. Are you ready to see the secret? Are you ready to know the secret? Awesome. I'm seeing the hearts and likes. Here's what the secret is. Wow. Thank you for those hearts and likes. The secret is that the thing that you most want comes from doing the opposite of what you feel comfortable doing. I'm going to give you an example, but I'm going to say that again first. The thing that you most want comes from doing the opposite of what you feel comfortable doing. So for example, this is the example I gave to one of the people I was working with. If you feel comfortable being a people pleaser, and no one likes to call themselves a people pleaser, but again, we're being honest with ourselves here today, right? So if you feel comfortable being a people pleaser, and if that's something that feels good to you, is feeling that connection with someone, well, actually doing the opposite of that and standing for someone and calling them on their bullshit and really sharing them with them honestly and lovingly what's in the way of everything that they want, that's what's actually going to generate the trust and connection that you deeply want. So like there was someone who I was working with in the training room, one specific person at the first level of the training and vision, and I said to her with love, I said, you know, you show up to me as an arrogant ice queen. And I said it in that way. I said it in that like this is what's in your way of everything that you want. That's like the energy with which I said it. And it's so interesting because while those words sound very kind of like harsh and like it would break a connection, like it would be like, ooh, I don't want to hear that. What ended up happening was she actually felt more connected to me. And here's what she said. She said, you have no idea, but at work they call me the ice queen. So what actually happened was she felt like, wow, someone gets me. And maybe she can help me break this habit and this way of being that's obviously not working for me or generating what I want. And so then when I acknowledged her and I said, you are so beautiful. Like when I see you in your vulnerability and when I see the ice melting and when I see you in your softness, you are so beautiful. Like every moment that I see you crack open even more, you become more and more beautiful. And from there, she was able to actually trust my words. And she was actually able to believe me because I was also really honest with her in sharing with her the thing that I felt was in her way, even though it required not being a people pleaser and it required being very kind of interruptive, if that makes sense. So I'll give you another example. One of my clients, I call her like the torchbearer for health in the Midwest. She's another one who really likes to be liked. I mean, most women really like to be liked. But she is in the Midwest, and the Midwest especially has such a culture of like, just being nice. I mean, there's no other way to put it. The Midwest has such a culture of being nice, and I know because I'm from the Midwest. And so one of the things that she wanted to do was to like wake her clients up and start this movement in the Midwest of waking people up to the fact that they're killing themselves with the way that they're eating and with their habits and things like that. And at the same time, she wanted people to like her. And so I gave her this coaching. And so what ended up happening was she took the coaching. She was willing to feel rejected. She was willing to pay those prices, to do it wrong, to feel abandoned. She was willing to feel those things. And what ended up happening was she shared with me today on one of our group calls that she, for the first time, is manifesting her ideal clients. And I said, who are your ideal clients? And she said, corporate clients. And the reason why she's manifesting them is because she's communicating in a way that she's never communicated before. And what it's doing, it's allowing her to set higher price points. It's allowing her to actually work with the people that she wants to work with. And she feels a level of confidence and worthiness and passion about her work that she's never felt before. And it's coming from her doing the secret, which is doing the opposite of what she feels comfortable doing. She's someone she's so gentle and supportive and nurturing. So for her to be honest and interruptive like that is a huge stretch, like way outside her comfort zone. But because she was willing to pay those prices and because she was willing to risk, which is that thing that is required of her at the manifestation point, she's now generating a whole new level of not only revenue in her business, but transformation in the Midwest, in the health industry, which is very needed, let's be honest. It's just amazing. Another example is I have another client who's in the real estate world, residential real estate, and she was feeling really unhappy about the way that she was experiencing her team and the way they were treating her. And so I coached her to set a boundary and really come from a place of like worthiness and self-love and taking care of herself and really setting a boundary and also getting intentional and clear about what she does want, which is a supportive team and, certainly to make a ton of money. That's something that's important to her, but to not feel so like cut down and like every man for himself and that sort of vibe in the team. And so she got really intentional about that. So it started as an idea, like worked its way down through her chakra system, and then it became manifestation point, time to take a risk, and she stood for herself, and she had a hard conversation, which is so the opposite of what she wanted to do, so the opposite of what was comfortable for her, but she did it. And that weekend, she made $1 million sale. She literally made $1 million. And I watched her do it again just a couple weeks ago, and she made 2 of those in a week. So that's $3 million total in a short span of time. It's just amazing. And she celebrates. It's like every time I see my clients do this, they're like, wait, but I did the opposite of what I felt comfortable doing, and then I got this incredible result. Like I literally got the result I wanted from doing the opposite of what I wanted to do, the opposite of what felt comfortable. It's like shocking to them every time, because it's like your ego wants to keep you safe. Your intuition, not your God intuition, but like your ego intuition, which is different, by the way, very distinct. It wants to keep you small, it wants to keep you safe. Remember, you evolved to survive, not to thrive. And so it's like your people pleaser shows up. Like, you don't want to feel uncomfortable. Yet, when you push through that discomfort and you are more committed to the vision and willing to pay those prices at that point of manifestation, that's where the universe can work with you and dance with you and co-create with you, and a whole, to use Carrie's word, miracle can manifest in such an unexpected and shocking and surprising way. It's amazing. It's just amazing. So let's see what you guys are saying. Michelle says her book was about how to start a DJ business. Ooh, awesome. Very cool, Michelle. Mariana says, so much wisdom here. It's the best way to live your vision. So true. Christy says, magic secret. The thing you most want comes from doing the opposite of what you feel like doing. Yeah, or specifically what you feel comfortable doing. Yeah. Carrie says, we are nice. Yes, we are. We Midwesterners are nice. Nikki says, yes. Michelle says, you evolve to survive, not to thrive. Yeah, it's true. It just is true. It's like, I was listening to Joe Dispenza, How to Become Supernatural. It's such a good book. I so recommend it. And he was talking about how, it's like our nervous system. It might be too much for this Dharma Talk Tuesday in this moment, but anyway, he was talking about the relationship between cortisol and adrenaline and then melatonin, because melatonin is something that contributes to your ability to vision and dream and enter into a gamma brainwave state, which is going to help you, again, have those ideas that boop, 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 they come down into your body, and then they can hit the point of manifestation and then turn into something. And how, like, if you're in fight or flight mode all the time, you can't get into gamma brainwave state, because you're not going to get the melatonin. It's not going to get generated. And so, and that's from an evolutionary standpoint. Anyway, that's a total tangent. I probably shouldn't have gone there. But maybe that was for someone who's like, ooh, interesting. I'm going to go read Becoming Supernatural. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. Anyway, let's go over what I just talked about. We talked about the one thing my clients do to generate thousands of dollars with their mind. So, pop quiz for anyone who's watching live right now. Please comment below. What is the one thing my clients do to generate thousands of dollars with their minds? The one thing that they do. The one thing that they do to manifest thousands of dollars worth of business. The one thing that they do. I mean, we didn't even talk about the relationship manifestations, but those amazing family. I've watched family transformations. I've watched romantic relationship transformations. There's one thing that they do. Jolyn says, the tangent was for me. I've been studying a parallel topic. Awesome, Jolyn. You are welcome. Crystal says, becoming supernatural, ordering it now. Carrie says the answer, which is to take a risk. That's the one thing they're willing to do. They're willing to risk. They're willing to pay the prices. Shawnee says yoga, which is also true. Deb says do what is not comfortable, which is also true. Kareen says take a risk, which is the language that I used. Take a risk, specifically at the point of manifestation. So like the idea comes in, it works its way down the chakras, it works its way to the point where it's about to come into matter, into something material, into something physical, and then now they have a choice. Do they take a risk? Do they take a risk? Yes or no? Do you take a risk? Yes or no? Yes, you take a risk if you're willing to pay the prices. And if you're not willing to pay the prices, you get to have a come to Jesus conversation with yourself about how committed you actually are to your commitment. How committed are you to your commitment, which I call facing the ugly truth. And then finally, the secret, the big breakthrough that my clients eventually have is that the thing that they most want comes from doing the opposite of what they feel comfortable doing. So, Tim Ferriss said a great quote, which is, the more uncomfortable conversations you're willing to have, the more money you get to make. And I found that that's very true. I've definitely found that that's true. Okay, so that wraps it up for today. Matt is eagerly awaiting dinner time together. So I am going to hop off of here and go enjoy dinner with him. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening, and I cannot wait to see you. Oh my God, I almost forgot really quick. I almost forgot. I'm opening up my calendar this week, and so is my team, and we're going to be supporting you one-on-one. So if this resonated with you and you're like, yes, I'm willing to take a risk, but I don't even know what to do, there are specific things that we can show you, and we're offering you custom abundance plan sessions, and they're totally free, and they're this week. Normally working with me, some of you are private clients, and you know it costs $1,500 a month, and I don't even really do one-off sessions. So to work with me one-on-one in this capacity, and by the way, this is for non-clients only, so if you're already a client, you already have access to me, so you don't get to take one of these sessions because you already have access to me. So if you are not a client, click the link that I'll be posting here. There are times open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of this week, and we would love to speak with you. I only work with women. So if you're a man watching this and you're like, oh, shucks, send me a private message and I will refer you to someone else who I know can support you and I feel confident can get your questions answered. So look for that link below, and I look forward to connecting with you. For those of you who are going to take those sessions, they will fill up fast, so be urgent about it. And it was so good to see you again, as always, and I'll see you next week, 6 p.m. Pacific, Dharma Talk Tuesday. Bye!